Okay, I'm going to do a repair on you can see from the thing, it's Chromebook 3110. It's a kind of common fault on ours that we get in the school. We've got a USB-C charging port issue where someone's jammed something in. It looks okay, but actually they've bent all the teeth and the pins inside, so you can't put the charger in properly and it won't connect. It just only goes in half. The problem with this is that we've got a cheaper model, so it only has one USB-C. The nicer models have one on the other side. I don't know if it's an education model or whatever, but it means that you have to repair it. And the other problem is, in the old models, the USB-C used to be on a separate panel and the motherboard's in the middle, but now the USB-C is part of the motherboard instead of it being connected, so you have to replace the whole motherboard. So basically I'm going to show you, I'm going to take the whole thing apart and I'm going to show you how to replace the motherboard so it fixes the USB-C problem. This is a 3110 like I explained. The 3100 has a smaller motherboard and it has a separate section with a ribbon cable, but the 3110 now has a huge motherboard and everything on one panel, and I think the 3120 is the exact same because we've got a few of those as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I take it apart and then a kind of simple way so you don't get lost, because a lot of people will just put all the screws in one pot and then not know what screws do what, and they also might miss some things. So I'll show you how to do it. So all you would do, you take the case off, you go down disconnect the keyboard, the trackpad, the battery and the soundboard like I've just done. You then take the 3 screws out the battery and remove the battery. Now what I've done is I've put the 3 screws from the battery in the same position as they came out off there, and I've put them above. You're going to see as I go on, everything gets laid out in the same pattern, so that when I'm going back and I've got 4 or 5 bits of things that I've taken off, I then put the bit on and then I just look for on up above where the screws are, okay? And in theory it simplifies it. I've done this technique with doing laptops before and it makes it a lot easier. So all we're going to do is we're going to take all these off. Screws here. Now this has a lot more screws than the 3100 and a lot more screws than the earlier models that we had from Dell and even some of the HPs and the Acers and stuff like that. So it's got a lot going on. It's a bit more like a real laptop. So you've just got to kind of not get too far and get lost, because you don't want to put it all back together and then it doesn't work because you've missed some. I'll put this in the middle. You'll start to see what I mean by putting the parts in the right place. Now these one, I think this one does come off on this. Some of them this plate doesn't come off, it stays on the board, and some of them, yeah, it does. So I'll just put this over here. There, moving across. So it's got one at the bottom. Oh, where did I just put that? There we go. Put it at the bottom. Then the Wi-Fi. Panel, and then the black at the top, white in the bottom, and then I take the screws off for this extra section, which is quite strange, instead of a ribbon cable, but I think they do it this way because it means, one, it's cheaper to produce, and two, when there's a repair you have to pay for a full replacement, where if there's a small section, it's a bit like phones. They used to make phones all in 5 or 6 pieces, but now what they do is they make it in one big board and they attach it to the screen. So some of the repairs are £200 or £300 to replace a phone, where and I'm guessing that's the way they're going with Chromebooks. They're trying to force people who have Chromebooks to make like big repairs, or at least have to buy expensive parts, which is a bit frustrating. But the cables are underneath. That's done that way, that's done that way. So it should, if I've taken all the screws out, it should, it's detached, and then it just pulls out. So that's your whole motherboard in one piece. Now, when it came up, the only thing that was above was 1 and then 2 and then across the bottom. So now I've got my replacement motherboard with my USB that actually works, okay, or it should work. So what I do is I do the reverse. I just slide it in, put it into place, and then I just make sure that the bit lines up on the other side and that there's nothing stuck. And then what I want to do is I want to work my way back down the screws. So in theory, I'm probably best starting on this side. Screwing this one out. This one. There, is that the lower one? The higher one. Black one was on top. You just need to make sure everyone knows that you just push it down. So put it on, push it down. And the white one goes in the bottom. Both, and then you put the guard on top, and then put the screw in again. Go, middle. This one. There's 1, 2. Did I take the wrong? Maybe I did. We'll see. That one goes there, that one goes there. Oh yeah, it's okay. I know what I've done. I used the wrong one on one of these. Oh no, that red one's in the wrong place. That one's one for the case. So we're going, we'll put over here and we'll make sure what's left and see. That one clicks underneath, and then we go 1, 2, 3. I think. That's how it works. 1. 2. Put this, so this one, need to put the cable in first. We used to have different coloured screws for different sections, so some of them were silver from the outside and black for the motherboard, but now they seem to have them all the same, which is, in some ways it's good, in some ways it's not so good, because it's harder to follow. I've trapped all the cables underneath, which is a bit of a silly move. So let's just make sure they're all out. Yeah, that's fine, all good. So we've got that. The one goes down here, and then the other 3 are for the battery. Now we've worked it okay. We're good. Once we've done this, we'll plug in the 3 cables because it means we've got more space. So put the sound back in. The funny thing is, in our school, we've had kids who have come with requests, so they've wanted either the webcam or the sound disconnected, which for most kids I wouldn't do, but then there are the odd kid who have it as something in their like support needs stuff, so we'll disconnect the camera or even disconnect the sound as well. So, and we just don't reconnect the cable on the motherboard, and that's how simple it is. So something to think about. And then there. So this is the annoying one. Thought this went too well. Even if you lose one of the screws, you can probably get away with some of the screws on the motherboard or some of the screws in the battery, and you don't have to stress too much about it. But it's just obviously if you want to do it really well, or if someone else is going to see the work that you've done, you don't really want to be missing loads of your screws. Get the battery in. That's connected, no spare parts. Now you can look, there's no spare screws, no spare bits. In theory that should be it, nothing's loose, right? And then all you do is, what I would do is not close the back up, but just click it. Then I would open it up, and then see what happens if it opens. If not, then I would take a charger off your desk, plug it in. Power's here. Let's see what it does. Is it going to come on, or do I have to? Because I've taken it apart, it might not like coming on. Oh no, we're okay. Looks like it. Looks like we're cooking. Yeah, so we're back. And then that also means if the battery is charging, that means the port that we've replaced is working as well. So we're good. So that's us. Replacement port from replacing the full motherboard. Now all you need to do is make sure that you know which motherboard the Chromebook came from, so that the kid doesn't have a case that says one number and a motherboard that says the other. You've got to make some sort of marking. We just put a marking on the inside of the case for the future if we do any repairs, and that's about it. Okay? Right, thanks. See you later.